Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Viking Academy podcast. This week on the podcast, I have Andrei Yakovenko. Now, Andrei and I have never met before, but I went out for dinner with a good friend of mine, Gina, in Toronto when I was there last. And she was telling me about this workout regime she was doing with this guy, Andrei. She said it was absolutely insane. And the results she was getting was off the hook. Now, here's the kicker. She was only doing it for 30 minutes a week. So you heard me correctly. You only do this workout 30 minutes a week and you don't do any other workouts. This is called deep fitness. This is like deep, heavy training. He's got 3 locations in Toronto. He's got plans of going across the country. It's called New Elements Training. You can find him under newelementstraining.com. But the interesting thing we go into this podcast is we go back into his history on where he came from, because he wasn't originally a trainer. He was a geotechnical. And I hope I got that right. I have to go back through listen to my notes again. But he was doing the traditional model, similar to what I did, like the accounting world and the hard, like science technology. And he broke free from that because something inside of him was telling him he needed to do something different. His passion and purpose wasn't there. And he's found it here with this New Elements training. I'm shocked. I think you really got to check this out. This is where we get to dive in a little more into the body side of the mind, body, and spirit with the Viking Academy. But of course, we dive in a little bit into the mind and to the spirit in this as well. But I'm telling you, you got to hear about this new way of working out. It saves you time. You get incredible results, and this is the best part. You don't hurt yourself, which I like, because I don't like hurting myself at the gym. I got to figure out how I'm going to go see him. He's got plans to move this across North America, which I hope he does. Let's see if we can spread the word around here with the Viking Academy podcast. So in the interest of time, let's get going into the podcast. Let's go explore. Andrei, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Eric, for having me. I'm so looking forward to talking with you.
Yeah, no, this is great. Before we got on here, I was trying to make sure I pronounce your last name right. And I'm going to try it again. It's Yakovenko.
Perfect. Yeah, I see. It's as good as I heard.
Andrei Yakovenko. Okay, great. There we go. Okay, we started the conversation off with a bang. This is great. Hey, so you and I have never met before. But I'm really excited to hear more about it. I went for dinner with Gina Mulliconey Long the other day when I was in Toronto, and she was telling me about the work she's doing with you. And I was like, holy hell, I got to talk to this guy. Like, I'm really excited about what you can do for the body. You know, on the Viking Academy here, it's all about the mind, the body, and the spirit. Mm-hmm. I really hoping we can maybe touch on all 3, but man, get into the body part. I need to understand what you're doing. And because she was just beaming about you. Like, she works out with you like a couple times a week or whatever. And she's just like off the chart. So give everybody a little background about what's going on here. What are you doing?
I don't know how much time we have.
Oh, we got lots of time, man. We got as much time as we want. This is my podcast. We fucking go as long as we want.
So first of all, touching on mind, body, and spirit, actually now 3.5 years ago, I co-authored a book, which I would highly recommend for you to look at it, called Deep Fitness. And my co-author, he's an expert on embodiment. In fact, he wrote the whole chapter on how you can do this kind of exercise, but not from your head, but from the body. And it's in a very detailed, quite unique and how to say, and real at the same time. So what I do essentially, I used to, a little bit background. When I came to Canada, when I went through universities, all that stuff, ended up in basically making career in geophysics. That's where I spent most of my 30th. And then, towards the end of my late 30th, I wanted to do something on my own. I needed more challenge. At the time, I was making good money. I was a partner in my previous company. So it wasn't just about the money. I really had a great job. but I want to do something where, I needed more challenge. My dopamine kind of was just like oozing from me. And like, when you do the same thing for 1,000 times, it's kind of like, oh.
Yeah, it's boring. You get bored. Yeah.
Exactly. So I just one day I realized, after a year of sitting on this idea of doing something on my own, trying to push it down. And one day I realized, oh, I just can't do it. It's just going to drive me crazy. So I just have to leave. So I showed up in the office and I just resigned. No plan B, no plan C. I just knew that I was a partner, I'm going to have some cash, it will give me some capital to start something on my own. So which I did. And then the question was, what do I want to do on my own? Do I continue my career, which I had a good name and reputation, or I do something original? And at that time, I was very passionate about this specific style of training that, what we do at New Element Training, my business right now. And essentially, it's a type of workout where you don't have to spend hours in the gym. You can get amazing results if you do it right, in literally in a 1 or 2 30-minute session a week. And I knew it was, wasn't just some theoretical idea. 1 year before I left, we trained this style at my old work. And, a buddy of one of my colleagues, he was around 40-year-old at that time, transformed. And that only from doing single session a week. I know exactly what he was doing because I was there with him, we were training each other. So I knew this concept really worked. I've seen this with my own eyes. So I did my research and went to Europe. I've seen something very similar to what we do here, in Toronto and Canada. That gave me the inspiration and idea of at least initial blueprint, what to do. And so I came back, and I thought this is what I'm gonna do. So I jumped into fitness business, zero background, zero experience, but lots of passion, because that's one thing I was passionate about. And for me, the criteria was, in my new endeavor, would be something I didn't want to feel like I go to work. I want to do something, I truly care about. And this style of training, something I was literally spent most of my free time just for fun, researching, reading about, and trying to understand it. And so New Element Training, could be described.
Could you say that again? What kind of training is it called?
It's called new
Yeah.
element training.
New element training, right? Okay.
So that's the name of our business. We have 3 locations now, but when I opened my first one in 2013, so over 11 and a half years ago, nobody was looking for, strength training for health in particular, for women. Most women still didn't understand the importance of, maintain muscle. Now it's a different story. Now everybody wants it, right? And I remember flying in this gentleman from the States who, just kind of to teach us how it works, how it's done. And he told me, you're about 10 years, before your time. And that's actually funny because last 2-3 years, I see this surge in people and women in particular wanting us, right? So now everybody talks about the importance of muscle, for Asian population, for women, for osteoporosis, quality of life, everything else. So at New Element Training, in my concept, we only use machines, and there are the highest quality machines you can find. The brand is called MEDEX. So basically, and MEDEX stands for medical exercise. They are medical grade equipment. And the way we perform the exercises, we only do in single set, but we do it differently from what you normally do. Let's say we put you on a machine just to explain, like a chest press, right? So we make sure you're properly aligned. So the joints, in good position. So form number 1, we want to make sure we're using the right muscles. We're not hurting anybody there, right? So good form number 1. Second principle of this training is muscle tension. So we want to keep muscle essentially under continuous tension without any breaks all the way until the end of the set. And the way I achieve it is by moving at relatively slow cadence. I would say maybe 3 or so seconds up, 3 or so seconds down. If you generally go faster than 3 seconds, you start using momentum. So the muscle tension you reduce the muscle tension because momentum takes over.
Yeah,
so
that's the workouts that I see in the gym in the morning. We get there and I see this guy, he's just like, boom, boom, boom. He's just go flying as fast as he can. And I'm like,
they just, counting reps and do whatever.
Yeah.
So here we don't even count reps. So the idea is you machine maintain good form, because if the form is not good, what's the point, right? So using the correct muscle, and then slow and control cadence up, slow and control cadence down. That allows your muscles to remain under continuous tension. And even as you lowering the resistance, we're not letting plates touch. We're allowing a little bit of gap. And essentially, then we do a little pause, basically to break any momentum, and then doing another slow rep. So keeping that gap allows us to keep muscle under continuous tension, because if the moment the plates touch, muscles relax, right? So no relaxing, continuous tension, and you're gonna keep going. We're not counting those repetitions. Your last repetition is simply the one that you're unable to complete in a good form. So that's your goal, to get to that stage. So we call that end point, reaching point of momentary muscle failure, meaning the muscle just simply too exhausted to generate any force to continue that exercise.
In proper form, in proper form.
Exactly. Proper form, continue muscle tension and muscle failure. If it's done in the right way, you can essentially send all the stimuli you need to send to sort of turn that light switch on for making that muscle or those muscles adapt and become stronger. So you can achieve the effect of that in a single set, lasting maybe 1.5 to 3 minutes, depending how, what's your level of you beginner, you intermediate, you advanced training. So, but let's say up to 3 minutes, that's all you need for that exercise. And you basically in a kind of superset fashion, move to the next exercise and the next and the next. So we can cover full body training that way in 30 minutes. And in fact, if you do it the right way, you won't have energy to maintain this level of, in high intensity of effort work more than about 30 minutes.
So let me understand this correctly. So in 30 minutes that you have completely worked out the entire body in perfect form, shall we say, taking it to failure every time. That's the thing that's just making my head kind of explode, because I mean, I do work out. I work out on a regular basis. I'm a fairly fit guy, 55 years old. I'm doing pretty good, right? But I know what it's like, the difference between having you go to the gym to kind of work out and you're doing that, you're kind of throwing the weights up and around and you're just kind of getting yourself like a little bit pumped, but not much, versus pushing it to failure. When you push it to failure and you're having that, you're shaking at the end of it and
it's finding your maximum mobility. The beautiful part about this training, well, there are many, but one of them, we can literally take a 25-year-old elite athlete, or we can take 85-year-old woman, with osteoporosis. The principles don't change. It's about finding your max. That's when you're reaching that failure. And then challenging it safely. And then giving time for the body and the muscles rest, recover, adapt, become stronger, and rinse and repeat. And week by week, you grow stronger and stronger and stronger. So it's a system. It's not just like another tool in your toolbox. It's actually the whole concept, the whole fellow. It's a lifestyle, basically. So what we sell at New Element Training as a lifestyle, because the workout is so time efficient, and we can make you stronger, particularly in those exercises that we do during a session, which we could focus on all the major muscles in your body in as little as 30 minutes once a week. So twice a week, when you do full body workout, it's ideal, it's optimal to get results faster and better, and I can explain the difference. But one still works. So I remember talking to one of my clients. We have clients from day one, and I opened it 11.5 years ago. They're still clients, and anybody in between. And chatting to one of my older gentleman clients, and he told me, like, what, you don't sell gym, you sell a lifestyle, because something we just do, right? And what makes us different, while there is our kind of concept of training in terms of the benefits you get in a single umbrella, minute by minute, frankly, I can't think of something more efficient than what we do. But there's other good workouts. What makes us different, we're truly sustainable as a lifestyle. It works. And because it's super time efficient, at the 30 minutes, either once or twice a week, and it's super, super safe, particularly when you do it our way. I can go deeper if you want. So when you're not hurting yourself, it's very time efficient. You don't have to be worried about being in the gym, every day for an hour or so, every other day, only 30 minutes once or twice a week. And it's effective. It's your lifestyle, and you just grow stronger and stronger. So that's kind of,
you've yet to say anything that makes me not want to do this, because you're talking about reducing the amount of time I spent at the gym. You're talking about increasing my my muscle mass, which is for me one of the hardest things right now at 55, trying to, looking at muscle mass and trying to, my understanding is as you get older, that's the biggest risk, is that you're starting to lose your muscle. So then you're not able to sustain yourself in terms of falls and all the rest of that stuff. So I want to maintain my muscle, my strength. And yeah, so like the time and the strength, and then the safety part, that for me is a big one, because I know that like hurting myself becomes more of an issue now as I get older. My daughter, I was catching fastball the other day, and she threw a pitch at me and hit me in the ankle. Oh my gosh, I'm still hobbling around, right? And I'm sore. I know it from being in the gym. Like if all of a sudden I do an exercise wrong and I hurt myself, it throws me out for a long time. That was the other thing that really struck me when Gina was telling me about this, is that it's all done in a way that's super safe. So like you're hitting on all the key points for me, man.
It's all the
Time,
key points.
time, results, and safety. Like, I mean,
And what happens to the muscle when you stop stimulating them? You don't use it, you lose it. So you
atrophy.
need to find an intervention that it's not enough for it to be the best workout. It has to be effective enough and safe enough, but also has to be sustainable enough so you can stick with it essentially for the rest of the life. Because muscle, again, is the organ of longevity, and I can go give you some arguments for that. But it's something we all, particularly over age of 40 and above, we all should be doing, and look at it as a lifestyle, proper form of resistance training rather than just another type of exercise, because you cannot age optimally unless you maintain muscle strength.
Right. Now, one of the things that Gina told me, she said it blew her mind. She came into a session with you, and she said this little old lady with a cane kind of hobbling out. She says, "Oh, have a great workout, dear." And she passes this woman. She's like, "Holy crap." And you walk her over to the same machine that this little old lady was working on. And Gina says, and here he goes, Andrei goes, and he grabs the pin from the lower weight, and he puts it up higher for me.
And less,
She was pushing, I can't remember what the weight she said.
Yeah. I can tell you, she's doing, I know she's talking about, that lady was doing probably about like 370 at that time pounds. Yeah, she's 8-year-old.
80 years old.
I said, this training works for everybody. It's safety is the key. And, you don't want to hurt anybody. Our oldest client is 95. Been client for, 4.5 years or so. Way stronger than he came. Like crazy.
Really?
How many 9-year-olds, that go stronger with time, not weaker, right? So this lady, I remember that Gina is referring to, she came back. I had a session with her some time ago, and after doing it, I don't know, a year and a half, she said she had her, bone mineral density test, and she said technician couldn't believe her bone mineral density went up and lean mass went up, and she was so excited. She said, "I didn't know it was even possible." So that's what I'm saying. When she shows up, that little gray hair lady, she's committed, right? She goes it, and because we can do it very safely, and each time she comes, she finds her max, and we challenge that max, and we rinse and repeat, recover. The beautiful part of this workout, yes, it's very hard because it's short workout, so we can go hard at it, but you don't have to do this too often. So we give more than enough time for the body to recover and become stronger. So what happens in terms of like justifying this, let's say time efficiency, let's say if this is somebody energy level now, so you kind of just understand how it works. Let's say you're doing, normal workout, so your energy level is a bit low, right? So you're tired, you go home, you eat something, you rest, you sleep, wake up next day, same energy level, do another workout. From our workout, because when you train to muscle failure, you find that, maximum mobility of those muscles. Essentially, you ended up every set in this sympathetic fight and flight state with a bunch of adrenaline and so on. So it's, tiring for the body metabolically, right? So central nervous systems needs time to recover. There will be quite a bit of, inflammation as a response to the workout, which you need all that to stimulate the adaptations. But your recovery hole is going to be deeper than normal workouts. You're going to be more tired from an average workout. So your body needs on average about 2 days just to feel normal again, sort of just to recover. And then give another day or two, like day 3, 4, that's when the overcompensation happens. That's when we grow stronger. So that's ideal time to do another workout. If you wait for too long, well, the body will decompensate and you're simply going to end up how you were before. But what we found with our approach, as long as you do it properly and do it every 3 to 7 days, that window. So minimally 3 days, enough time for the body to recover, and that becomes stronger. Up to about 7 days before you start losing those adaptations. Come back, you're going to be stronger on those exercises that you did before. So we can build on it, where you can see you either twice or once a week, and you grow stronger and stronger. So that's where the time efficiency comes from, because these workouts are more demanding on the body than an average workout. And adaptations only happen after the body recovers. So the body has to recover first, and it only takes a couple of days just to recover. Another day or two, that's when you're at your peak of strength, and then you do it again, and then you build on it. So 30 minutes of this style, once or twice a week, twice is optimal. And yeah.
Wow. So like, if you had it. So here's a question. When are you going to come out to the West Coast, man? You said you got three
I'm working on it,
locations.
but I'm kind of like, up until now, my wife, Sophie, she's helping me with the admin because the business kind of expanded. And I'm so messy. For me, the first few years was just trying to keep the business alive. So admin stuff, I'll deal with it, right?
Yeah.
So it took her like a couple of years to kind of clean the company up. But essentially up until like recently, I was like one-man show, right? But now we're expanding. We have 3 locations. We do virtual training. But I'm still doing, most of the decisions on my own, right? So we don't advertise. It's all organic growth. People like Gina that all tell each other. And at some point, I know there is need for us. There is definitely a market for us. But I need to be ready to expand. Not there yet.
We gotta.
But next time you're in Toronto, you should stop by and we'll give you a workout. Then.
Oh man, I'm
There's
looking
nothing
forward
like
to
personal
that.
experience.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. So there's a couple areas I want to go down here, and I want to touch on the one that means the most to me right now, is that you originally went into a shall we call it traditional career, right? Traditional model. I'm assuming you're in the office and you're doing your 9 to 5 and whatever extra hours, and then something inside you tweaked or snapped or whatever, and it's like, I really got to go do something that matters. I got to do something that matters. I need to have passion and purpose. And for me, that's what the Viking Academy is all about. It's for people to explore their mind, their body, and spirit to figure out who they are, why they're here, and what they're here to do. And once you do, you will have that passion and purpose. And now you will engage life like the Vikings did, right? Like with passion and purpose. And I love hearing your story that you went, I was successful. I had a business partnership, but blah, blah, but it just wasn't feeding my soul. And now all of a sudden I see the smile on your face, man. And I
was dying, and you just telling me this. I feel the tingling because exactly that's what happened.
Yeah. And so that's that. There's something that we're all like, we're the only species on the planet that doesn't know why we're here, right? We're the only species that, like all the other animals, do their thing. Humans, we got to go figure it out. And I love that, because I kind of am in the same boat. Like I did the accounting, I did my CPA designation, got my accounting, my tax. And then all of a sudden I was like, I still wasn't feeling right. And I got out of that. And then I started coaching. It felt better. And now the Viking Academy is where that's where my excitement is, right? That's the passion and purpose, is like helping other people find that passion and purpose inside them. And I love the fact that you're doing this.
And also you find the product that really beneficial to people. So like every day I see people, I move between the locations, almost single client tell me how much stronger they feel and how it changed their life. I had people using the words, save my life, like literally, like I have women in the 70s coming back from ski vacations. I haven't skied like this in 10 years. So, we're not selling snake oil. So there's the passion, but then also the effect it has on people. It just so amazing. This is exactly what I was looking for. I remember in my early 20s, I lived in Israel for 3 years. And I was working for a time as a scuba diving instructor. And I remember coming back home and feeling so good. Like people come, you introduce them to scuba diving and they smile. I know I made that day, right? And I really enjoyed that part. In my geophysics business, you're just sitting there, making money for all, for the exploration companies, mining companies, for us, it's great.
Yeah.
But it's a kind of job of no consequence, right? You're just moving money around.
You're just making money. Yeah,
Huh?
you're just making money. Like you're
Exactly.
not,
That's
there's
it.
no,
You're just making money.
yet there's no purpose. There's no why behind it.
Yeah, a
Right?
job of no consequence. Because also in exploration, which I was part in, you need like, I don't know, exact statistics, but something like 1 out of 1,000 projects actually becomes a mine, right? So, like you basically just work for money. And something was missing. Like money for me, income wise, for an immigrant particularly, I did, relatively well. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
But that was not it. And then say one day I just showed up and I literally didn't have plan B. And that's another thing. Don't have plan B, because I knew I wanted to resign, not to find another job. I wanted to resign and I wanted to jump off that cliff and see what happens, because I need that. I was missing that personal challenge. I kind of reached the max of that personal growth I could get, I think, in that company, but I knew I had quite a bit more in me. So it was like no choice. So I just resigned. I didn't know what I'm going to do next, but I knew I'm going to do something on my own. And then I started to follow, okay, what do I want to do? Like, well, do I want to just buy like a, franchise, a coffee shop? No, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in eating sugars and all that stuff. What do I believe in? Well, I believe in this.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my passion. So let's look at the different business model. Let's do a little bit research and see how I can bring this concept to Canada. That's kind of how I started.
That's fantastic. But dude, that's so similar to me too. Cause I sold my accounting practice because I was done being an accountant. I just couldn't do it anymore. And I remember my wife I said, well, what are we going to do? She goes, you'll figure it out. And so then it was like, okay, let's go explore, right? Let's just, no plan B, no parachute, just jump out of the plane and the parachute
and
on
that's
the way down.
That's the secret to success, because what happens when you have plan B, in retrospect,
Yes.
you would have probably taken it, right? Because it was so hard, the first couple of years. I have 3 kids, all the income is on me to support the family, mortgage, children, cars, everything. And the business doesn't go, right? You think you build it, they'll come. That's not the case.
Yeah.
There's much more to build it than. So it needs time to figure it out. Who are your clients? What works, what doesn't work. But you have to stick with it, because there's so many sleepless nights. Let's put it this way. I would wake up in the morning. I had no idea if we can be able to survive until end of the month, because, I have a retail space in downtown Toronto, very expensive. The expense is just crazy, right? And like, I just don't have money. There is not enough income to stay alive. And then you just take it, that's where I actually, speaking of embodiment and soul, I'll give you a little bit story. One of my clients, his name is Barnett Bain. He's Canadian, but lives in LA, and he's a director, author. And he was here in Toronto finishing a movie about bullying in children and mindfulness. And so he's a big mindfulness guy, basically. And, I was training him. He wanted to work with me. And then he was telling me, your problem is, it's not all the marketing you're going to do. It's you. I feel lots of fear in you. And I had tons of fear, right? Not making it, because I literally didn't have plan B. So you work on yourself, like attracts like, and then see what happens. And he suggested a couple of books. I went into that journey, and I went probably like 2-3 years reading at least a couple books a week on this topic, meditating, doing everything I can do, going inside and trying to find those demons, to work on those fears, right?
Yes.
And, I think it saved my business at that time. I needed it. So then I stopped making the decision from the fear. I made the decision because, I would like literally meditate, empty my head, and like think about the packages, the concept, and try to make the decision from that place rather than, jumping and making them from the fear. Because if I would operate from the fear, I don't think I would still be here.
That's awesome, man. That's yeah. Yes, and yes. You guys, if you're not watching the video version of this, you got to see my buddy here. We got a couple Vikings here with big beards, and like, dude, I could see us going into battle and just having a blast together. You've hit on all the topics that I wanted to talk about, because I truly believe that the answers are inside us, right? We attract that which we want truly deep down inside, but you can't find what's inside you by looking outside, right? You can't find what's inside you by looking outside. So you got to go inward, and that inward journey for me has been the same thing. I've been constantly going inward and And, you know, again, on the meditation side, I probably haven't been doing as much as I would like to. I thank you for bringing that up again, because I think that's something I want to start leaning into a little bit more. Because that when you have that knowledge and you're not making decisions from fear, whatever happens, happens, and you're okay with it.
Integrity. It's
But
like the key to integrity. Otherwise, you compromise the integrity. And
yeah, the minute you make a decision in fear, my experience has been every decision I've ever made based out of fear has been a mess. It's
yeah,
always ended up
short
being a
term might
mess.
be okay, but long term, it's probably not a great idea.
Yeah. So that's really cool. And I'm also, you know, I'm technically an immigrant to Canada too. I was in my mom's belly from Norway. So they came from Norway. I was in my mom's belly. I was like, literally they landed, and then a couple months later I was born. So I'm Canadian, but I'm
Yeah.
called
Yeah,
first generation, right?
you can claim a passport in Norway.
I'm doing, yeah. I'll take my Norwegian citizenship there. Um, what I wanted to ask you about was this book. You mentioned the book at the beginning of the podcast. It's called Deep Fitness, and you said you wrote it with you had some co-authors on that book.
Yeah. So my co-author, his name is Philip Shepard, and this is how I was part of my mindfulness exploration. This gentleman, my friend Barnett Bain from LA, right? So I was asking him a question. He said, you know, you should go take a workshop of my friend who lives in Toronto. His name is Philip Shepard. So look him up. He published a couple books. So, you know, and he had a book launch. So I went there, introduced myself, invited him for a workout, you know, what I just described. It was like love from the first sight. He's like, and he hates gyms, you know, he's outdoor guy. That guy, when he was, I don't know, he's in his 70s now. When he was 17 or something, he flew to London, UK, bought a bicycle and took that bicycle to Japan, literally sleeping outside. The guy is a legend. You should have him show. We're talking about embodiment and spirit.
Yeah.
Like you won't find a better expert. So I can.
Okay, connect me up. Yeah, I want to have him on the podcast.
Well, this is the guy, right? So I go to his book launch and then invite him for the workout. He loved it. And, you know, now I'm interested in his work. So I'm taking his workshops. He has this like a weekend version of the workshop. And then the longer ones when you go to the retreat and then spend more time, go deeper. And I, you know, took a bunch of them. I became a facilitator of his work, you know, just for myself. Like I took several of those workshops. And then he's because he doesn't write from here. He writes from different places, a place of so much clarity. And I told him, Philip, you want to, because I wanted for some time to do a book project, to write a book about it. But I know if I write the book by myself, you know, who's going to read it? And, you know, I'm not going to probably do a good job anyway. So I kind of attempted to write it. But anyway, so I asked him if he wanted to copyright it with this project. He said, yes. So a couple of years later, we have a book. And it's all the science of exercise there, why you need it, particularly for the Asian population in regards to muscle strength. So we're talking about the background, the origins of aerobics, the cardio, where that came from. And so it's a very, you know, very good book, has all the key points. And it's very easy to read because he's such a talented writer, right? So I have clients telling me, I know I'm reading a book on exercise, but like, I feel like I read a novel.
Yes.
And the book did fairly well. Couple years ago, we did bestseller on Wall Street Journal. So, you know, says something, right? So it sells internationally. Any bookstore, any website that sells the book, people who, you know, those who are interested could find it. So it's Deep Fitness. It's myself, Andrei Yakovenko, and Philip Shepard. We're two others.
Nice. Yeah, that's
And I said, if you're into mindfulness, and you want to learn how to do strength training from the real mindful way, like there is the whole chapter on it. You would love it.
Oh, no, you got me. You got me now. I'm in there. I was just marking down, these are my action steps as that's the one thing I love about doing these podcasts, Andrei, is that I learn so much from the exploration with the guests, and then I get new opportunities to go and explore other things. And your book is one of those things. I always mark these things down. Okay, I want to go check this out. So this new, shall we call it, this new fitness way of coming at the fitness level, it would seem to me to check all the boxes, like I said earlier. Like it would, like, I think the guy obviously before was definitely right. You were 10 years before your time. And now it's starting to come to fruition. Now it's starting to bubble up, and it's like, okay, here's what people really need. It saves you time, you get incredible results, right? And you don't hurt yourself,
Yep.
right?
If you're women, and if you're over 40, 50, increases bone mineral density, maintains muscle mass, build muscle mass, you feel stronger. You know how many clients, like we literally have countless clients, you know, women or men, like they just awesome. Like I look at them today, some of them signed up, you know, when they were like 50, 60, 70-year-old, and I've known them for, you know, 4, 5, 10 years, anything in between. Every single one of them look younger to me now than when I met them. There's something, we know that, you know, muscle, and I can go if you want me to explain why, but essentially resistance training and muscles are the key if you want to age optimally.
And so one of the things that, you know, especially with the aging, the danger of not having, you know, it makes it sound like you've got the fountain of youth here, man.
I'm
Because
telling you, if one pill, if you put all the benefits of what you do in one pill, would be by far the most powerful longevity, quality of life, anything ever invented. But there will never be such a pill because the benefits of resistance training under a single umbrella, there's nothing matches it. I tell every my new, when, you know, prospect lines come to me, and I have a way to introduce our concept. And when I talk about health benefits, I say, find me one intervention. I don't care what it is. Another exercise, drug or pharmaceutical, if under a single umbrella will give you as many benefits based on research as resistance training, particularly of higher intensity of effort, what we do at our place, which gives you even more benefits. Like we will train you free for a year. Nobody claimed that ticket because, you know, like there's so many. If you look at the research, just a few months ago, I saw a paper, resistance training rejuvenates aging skin. Just give me body part, I'll show you some science paper study. Somehow resistance training make it.
that's crazy. So like it would seem to me that this is just like the tipping point. And this is another reason why I wanted to have you on the podcast is I wanted to, you know, I wanted to expose my listeners to this concept of the deep fitness and the results that you're getting, because it just hits on all the things. People are super busy. You end up going to the gym and you hurt yourself, and you never really get results. Like, I mean, and I've been going to the gym for a long time and I'm a fairly fit guy, but I'm frustrated with the results that I'm getting.
And you pretty good, but majority of population probably not even your level. So for them to get some results by themselves is like hopeless, right?
Yeah.
So what we need a system. What we do, it's a system, it's a concept. There are structure to it, it's structured, right? So once you understand the structure, the workout itself, not that complicated. Form, muscle tension, range of motion, you know, when it's possible, unless there's an injury, we'll do something else, and then bring muscle to failure. And then smile, you know, have a good attitude, like take it lightly because it's gonna suck. So, but it's a very like focused, you know, 30-minute workout. And you need, ideally, you want to do it when somebody like coaches you, like I have a training partner or like friends, we train each other because, you know, watching you form, particularly when you approach failure, like you need somebody to sort of help you to take you there.
Right.
Ideally, you can do it on your own, but it's not as easy. And it's not going to be as deep. And that way, I guess what I'm trying to say, like what we offer really a sustainable, effective solution. The key is sustainable as a lifestyle. As I said, there's many other ways to exercise. If you understand exercise physiology, know what you're doing, you can get results. What makes us special, I would say, is that it's really sustainable because of the time efficiency and safety. And I remember I came to that conclusion. I live a little bit, you know, further away from my gyms. My gyms are downtown area. I live further north. And on the weekend, I didn't feel like driving all the way for a workout, so I went to normal, like in a big gym. And I'm sitting there like full, right? And my gym is empty, and I have this in my mind, the best concept. You know, this is earlier years.
Yeah.
So it was different, like between us and them. And this is what I realized is the time efficiency is safety. It's a structure that can give you all the results and give you that. And that's what kind of.
Yeah. And I could see, you know, obviously it's a higher touch point and higher personal, you get it more customized to you because you've got someone right there with you, working with you, a trainer, watching your form, making sure that you're not hurting yourself, and using this equipment that you've brought in. Like that's not, it's not your basic gym equipment, you know, because I know that's one of the other things too, Andre. Like my wife and I complain about this quite often. So my wife's in incredible shape, by the way. That's really why I started working out with, so I could actually keep up with her. Okay. So, but now it's
Smart,
like,
smart.
I love it. And we get to a gym and we'd be doing on a machine and it feels awkward. Like it's not quite
Exactly.
fitting you properly. And you know, you're going to hurt yourself because you can just feel it. Right.
Exactly.
So we just stay away from those machines.
It's like I would describe, you know, I don't know, it's hard to describe unless you actually try medics equipment, but it's more like something along the lines of driving expensive German car and driving like a, you know, cheap North American car. They're both cars, but one
Yeah.
would be a smoother ride and more pleasurable ride, right? Because
Yes.
the good equipment adjust the resistance profile, because muscles not equally strong at every positions along the range of motion. Some positions muscles a little bit weaker, some stronger. A good equipment would adjust by mechanically the resistance profile to give you matching proper resistance for that muscles at this position and in this and so on. So if the muscle is weaker, it will give you less resistance, stronger resistance, more resistance. So we call it smooth resistance curve. So a good equipment would do that properly. A good equipment would, you know, track your joints congruently for its natural function. So you're loading the muscle, not the joints. Plus have different planes of alignments for different body types, padding. Like I can literally spend an hour talking the uniqueness of medics versus the conventional ones.
Right.
So it's really hard to get a good workout like on a typical gym equipment. Like that's why I only use medics, because in my mind, they're just the best tools.
Okay, so I'm curious on this one, and thank you for mentioning that again, because I remember Gina saying this to me at when we went for dinner that night when she was talking about you, raving about you, by the way. She's a raving fan, and I totally understand why. She was explaining how you can load the muscle but not overtax the joint of the muscle. Like the joints, that's the problem. And
I put you on the leg press machine.
Yeah.
Won't be able to stand up, but the joint's going to be nice and stable, no strain, zero strain on the joints. So we can target just the muscle in the right way through the full range, all the like deeply, without, you know, putting any strain on it.
I would imagine that's a bit of a problem, especially to say like they've got arthritis or osteoporosis.
So
that
some
sort of
people
thing.
have issues, and we have to be gentle. We have some adjustments, you know, like there's always cases. But, you know, if you're generally healthy, that's the case.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that if you're not putting the strain on the joints, then you're able to actually target the muscle without inflaming or causing that more of a
Okay, so in terms, let's talk about the safety component. You know,
yeah,
I'll take a minute to explain. So basically, what makes this workout safe is the slow cadence. Why?
Okay.
In physics, force is mass times acceleration. So when you move something fast, by definition, you generate high force. And if force exceeds integrity of the structure, that's how we get hurt, right? When you move slower, you control the acceleration, you control the force. So there's a case where they put this gentleman on a so-called force plate. They gave him, 60-pound barbell, ask him to move it fast. And you can see how the force jumps up and down 2-3 times body weight. So fairly high force. Same weight, same barbell, now move it slowly, flat line, no force. Very little, almost none, right? So by moving slower, you control the force, meaning this kind of training is actually very gentle on the joints. And this is what you want in exercise, particularly considering long-term longevity. You want to find an exercise that is easy on the joints, but hard enough to stimulate the adaptations. So it's really hard to find that combination, because we can give an older person, 3-pound dumbbell, yeah, safe, but really doesn't do anything. We can do, like let's say CrossFit, right? Everybody knows it's very intense and the high force. People tend to hurt themselves quite frequently, right? So also not the best solution. Very effective, but also safety-wise, maybe not the best. So with our approach, we can make it both. We can make it easier, gentle on the joints, but also hard enough, because when you go to muscle failure, I'm telling you, if it doesn't feel like the hardest physical and mental challenge you had in your week, you're not doing it right. So it's very hard when it's stimulation, but at the same time, the joints are just fine. So slow cadence is the key. Supervision. That's why we only at Neumann Training, we coach only clients one-on-one. It's a brief 30-minute workout. You can literally come even once a week. So most people, should be able to afford us, right? So we don't make us unaffordable and accessible. So we make it as accessible as we can. So we had a perfect workout, supervised, safe. What makes it safer again? Slow cadence, coach watching you, and using medics equipment, that medical grade equipment. One of the safest ways to train. So I'll give you some stats from New Element Training. 11 and a half years of business, people come to us, they have issue with rotator cuff, lower back, knee, you name it, right? Once in a while, it's possible maybe to push a bit too hard and trigger existing injury.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't happen very often. I know, I forgot when last time this happened, but when you have hundreds of clients in 3 gyms, it's just a matter of statistics, right? In terms of new injuries, in 11 and a half years, training clients to failure, and our clients are typically like 40 plus, that's our demographics. I can't think of even one meaningful client injury, even one. And imagine how many hundreds of thousands of sessions we've done. So I'm telling you, this is not just effective, it's also one of the safest ways you can train if you do it the right way.
Did you say not one single
Not even
injury?
one. Not even one new injury. Yeah, once in a while we poke existing one, but not even one new one.
Right.
That
So
I
that
can,
you haven't
meaningful that I
created,
can remember comes to my mind in 11 and a half years of business.
dude, I can think of just in the last 5 years, how many new injuries I've had in the gym that I never had before, new tweaks that I've done to myself.
Yeah, I personally train super hard. My training partner that we tend to train together, she's super, super intense. Like literally, she keeps me honest. 11 and a half years, no problems, no joint pain, nothing. On the other hand, when I did the conventional workout, back in the day before I knew about this style, I wanted to be jacked and big. So I, always like aches and elbows, aches and knees, but who cares? You just want to, look bigger.
Yeah.
None of it, no injury, and 11 and a half years personally as well. So it's, I'm telling you, if you do it the right way, you can really stick with it for the rest of your life.
So is that why it's so safe, is because you do it slow and with supervision?
Yes. Slow is the key. Slow, good equipment and supervision. But slow cadence is the key because that takes care of the force. And another thing, what happens when you move slower, if something doesn't feel right, you can stop before it's too late. When you throw something fast, you hurt yourself and then it's too late already, right? But when you move slow, you're mindful, you breathe, you pay attention to here. You just feel the joints and the muscles. And if there's something doesn't feel right because you can just stop right there. So, another benefits of slow and controlled movement because you're more present, you're more mindful, and you can avoid the injury before it happens if something doesn't feel right.
What's your vision for New Elements training?
Do
you have a vision for?
Yes, 100%. That's kind of what I wanted to do when I left. I was a partner in my company, as I mentioned, so income was fine. Then when I was exploring the business model, I didn't want to just be a gym owner, right? It's just boring.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if not for this concept, I would never be in the fitness or gym model. I would be doing totally something else. Yes. The only reason I'm doing it because I'm passionate about my product, right? So then I was introduced to this guy. He was my mentor for a bit. And unfortunately, he passed away. He was over 80. His name is Werner Kieser from Europe. He's from Zurich. And this was my inspiration. He's the first guy who's created gym in Zurich, 60 years ago. And they've been using this equipment in this general style of training and selling it to gray hair population for, when I met him 11, 12 years ago, 50 years then. So now it's over 60 years. And I have seen how you can do this model successfully. Like I walk into the gym and it's like bright, and people, trainers so nice to you, like when you go to Starbucks, they greet you so professional. You have this like client passing by and this one gray hair lady passing by saying, this is the best gym in town. And this is Zurich, right? I'm just like, man, I feel so, I want to, I couldn't afford their franchise because that's what I thought too. Maybe I'll just become their franchisees. But they're not in North America. They're only in German-speaking Europe and Australia, but they don't have presence here. And nobody knows about them here anyway. And it would be very expensive for me to become a franchisee. So I came back and I knew this is what I want to do. I want to create a version of it and build it in Canada. So that's my inspiration. So Werner Kieser, he was generous enough to kind of be my mentor, to get me going, right? Like give me some, and he's the reason probably why we're still doing it, because in my gym, I don't have treadmills. I don't have nothing. We just do one product. We just use medical equipment and we train to muscle failure. And we stuck with it. And that's also secret to success, because once you start adding other things, because somebody wants this, somebody wants that, then you lose your focus, you lose your specialty.
Yeah.
Then you just become another place, right? And there is hundreds of gyms, gyms and restaurants, one of the most competitive businesses out there. So that's what kind of keeping that focus. And so I wanted to be Kizer Training of North America. I wanted to take this, introduce this to Canadian market, and start to grow it. So this is kind of my vision. Right now we have 3 locations, but when you're doing everything on your own, it's kind of hard to scale, right? And I'm not sure I'm ready for investors. I know if I want to find money, I can probably find if I really want to, but I don't know if I'm ready to give up my freedom. I like the freedom. I like to make my own plans. I don't like to answer to anybody. I like just, I'm happy. I have a good lifestyle.
Yeah.
So let's see.
I like the vision.
The idea is to expand one day.
I love the idea of being across the country, and I love the idea of being part of having it as a membership where I can access this anywhere, because I'm out in Toronto 10 times a year. I'm in Quebec City 6 times a year. I'm all across the country all the time. If I could access this and have this in my regime so I could do it twice.
Well, definitely when you're in Toronto 10 times, you can have the workout.
Dude,
but then you have to go home and find a way how to do it on your own, which, we can help you as well. But once you at least try it, with us, properly, it will give you a good idea what to aim for when you do it on your own.
Maybe we need to find, you know what? You want to talk about a lot of over 40, 50, 60, 70 or whatever year olds. Victoria, British Columbia, man, that's a gold mine.
Then we should open one.
Yeah, I'm thinking we should open one in Victoria.
Definitely.
And you and I are going to have to talk about this a little more.
Yeah, I just right now, I'm kind of doing most of the introductory. I know we don't have the support yet. It all comes through me, but I have to put everything on paper. It's a process.
Yeah. Gina and I can help you with that. We can make this happen. Yeah, let's make this happen. That'd be awesome. Dude,
but that's kind of my next step is I need to start working on how do we make it scalable.
I like that. Now, you got me fired up even more. Andrei, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story and this access to, I think I'm going to call it this. It's like the fountain of youth. It's like strength training in a way that is done safe with results and time, man. The time.
I'm telling you, nothing will match those benefits. If somebody can show up and show me based on research, side by side, and even matches the benefits of this, we'll give them a year of free training. Personal training is not cheap. So
no, there you go. Well, I like it, man. Andrei, I think we're going to have another conversation quite soon in the near future. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, my friend.
Yeah. Thanks so much for, listening to me talking about something that I literally can talk about, 24/7. So I appreciate it.
That's passion and purpose. All right. Okay, Vikings, keep exploring. Thanks for listening to the Viking Academy podcast. Make sure to leave us your honest feedback by leaving a review on Apple or Spotify and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode.